Hello there, everyone, and welcome to GamePoints episode 300. Your weekly get
Woo!
together. Yeah, really, right? Your weekly get together, we talk about recent gaming news. And as always, your host, Stephen Brown, and joining me today is.
I'm David.
Tonight, David, on this not at all special episode of 300, we have Babylon's Fall seemingly, apparently, just flopping. Lost Ark is selling way more than it should be, and Stalker 2's future is understandably murky given the current events going on. But first, I want everyone here to know that this is an audience interactive podcast. So if you're watching us here at Twitch TV/GamePoints or later at any myriad of video hosting platforms, feel free to leave a comment, questions
Whatever
here
janky thing
live.
he can find, he's gonna upload there.
Yeah, goddamn right. Questions, comments, concerns, etc. Just try to keep them germane to the topic on hand. I'm not going to lie, David. The fact that this didn't start with like a 2 and it's now 300 has really fucking thrown off my intro here. Because
I
I
didn't
already.
notice.
Oh, yeah. uh, so, yeah, 300 episodes of this goddamn thing. That means we've been doing this for over 6 years. Because not every episode necessarily gets put up. So it's probably 6.5, maybe even closer to 7.
Well, we took a break for a
Yeah,
little
there was
while.
a break too.
So
It's
time-wise, it's probably even longer. Who knows?
uh
It's a mystery.
it is. But thank you very much for being here for most of that time, despite the fact that we're still just no names. I do appreciate that. David, however, I don't want to take too that's going to be essentially all the acknowledgement that this is 300. So let's go ahead and roll right into things like we normally do. What have you been playing the past week or so, and tell me why it's just only Elden Ring.
um, the thing I said last week still stands. We had a whole big conversation, and I was actually thinking about this the other day while playing Elden Ring and while getting like a disconnect error. That it's still the most fun game I've played all year
Okay, I was
and
about to
all of
say
last
ever
year.
or all year. Okay.
Like for the last few years that I can think of. Like
Really?
it's
Okay.
so fun. And I don't even want to talk to you right now. I just want to go back to playing Elden Ring.
Yeah, and I'm at the point now where you're so far ahead, I don't even want to have you get into the details of the game itself for me, because now I'm like, okay, now I do kind of want to be surprised of what is
Yeah, and I've
coming.
seen a bunch of stuff and there's just so much to do. It's the most approachable one of these damn games that there's been. They give you a lot of tools to combat the get good crowd.
I have heard
You don't
that
have to
there
listen to those
is.
assholes. You can actually just play. You can summon multiple friends. You can summon NPCs. You can use this other thing. Like you can fucking run around on horseback the entire time and avoid most combat if you want.
I have heard there is one hell of a wall that hits when you reach a certain area.
There is an early wall in the game, but it exists to turn you around.
Okay.
Like if you when you start the game, it's a little misleading because it is a Soulsian adventure where this one has a map and this one has map markers that kind of indicate a direction for you to go.
It does
And you're like,
point you
oh,
in a
cool.
direction, yes.
And if I follow this, I get my ass beat because you'll get to a spot where a boss shows up and he just will destroy you. You don't want to go straight there. You want to explore every other damn thing you can find in that open world zone before going them. There's
Mike's good.
there's like a dozen bosses you can fight before that guy. You can get really strong before that guy.
My experience with that game has very much been here's an open world area, and then they narrow you down through kind of like a gate or a checkpoint of some kind that will fuck you up, and then it opens back up again, and then it narrows you back down to like one gate or checkpoint that will fuck you up, and then it opens back up again. It's like these series of contracting
It's not
bulkheads
it's
for
not
lack of a
quite
better term.
like that all the time.
Okay, okay,
Yeah.
that's just been my
There's
experience.
areas where you're in one open world zone and you just walk into the next open world zone.
Okay. Okay, good to know. Good to know. That is a game that I do want to get to, but what I've been playing has just soaked up all of my time. That's Horizon Forbidden West.
Yep.
At this point, I'm 70 hours into it. I'm finally at the point now where I can kind of feasibly see the end of it. I think I have 75% of the map uncovered. If you look at the completion total on there, I'm at like 60-ish, low 60s for completion. Uh, Goddamn, David, has that game just sucked up my time. It's not even
That's a
that.
good thing.
Yeah, it's not even that revolutionary compared to the first one. I mean, graphically, it looks more impressive. There's a bigger variety of environments. Uh, it's weird going through some of these areas because I have seen some of this stuff firsthand, like in real life. So it's
Mhm.
interesting to see the ruins of them. And it is so satisfying to play as well.
I still feel bad for that game.
Yeah,
I still feel bad for Guerrilla. The first one launched weeks within Breath of the Wild, and then got completely snubbed that year for all praise and awards and everything. This one launched a week before Elden Ring, and I'm sure there's lots of people like me out there that could only pick up one, and due to the nature of buying anything, does not have a PS5, and so they went with the one that's available everywhere.
I still think that at the end of it all, after a couple of years go by, I think Horizon is going to sell more copies than Elden Ring. I don't think so. I think Horizon has a bigger tail than Elden Ring does as far as bringing new people in to buy it. But
I straight up don't think that's true. I completely disagree. I think Elden Ring's going to have a lot of fucking lasting sales.
I think that it could sell more than Horizon. But if I were to pick, I'd say it's like a 60-40. Horizon sells more than Elden Ring. And I fully am aware that these are on multi-platforms compared to a single platform. I just think that Elden Ring, while this is the biggest selling From Software game in a long, I think ever so far, given it's linked out, I still think it has that barrier of being known as a Souls game, which is an instant turnoff for a lot of people.
Potentially.
So we'll of course know a little bit more about sales figures of these games a couple months from here, but I do think Horizon is going to still end up selling more than Elden Ring, because at the end of the day, despite all the claims of Elden Ring being more approachable than other FromSoft games, it's still a FromSoft game. It's still, while it's more approachable, it's still very much closed to a lot of people. The other thing that I've been playing a lot lately, by the way, speaking of games, is Triangle Strategy.
Okay.
God-awful name, but it really does feel like Final Fantasy Tactics to a degree. It is not as good as Final Fantasy Tactics, given my 10 or 12 hours or so into it, but they definitely want to have it has all the political drama that Final Fantasy Tactics did, and I'm really enjoying that. One thing that's a bit of a tragedy with it, though, is the fact that I feel the voice acting is extremely subpar for what I was expecting. It's not atrocious, but you could tell it's a bunch of people having conversations and not actually talking to each other. Does that make sense?
I mean, I guess.
Like they're reading off scripts, but they're not reading off scripts to each other. It's like one person reads all their lines and send it in, and then someone reads other lines and sends it in, but they don't hear each other speaking. So it's disjointed. The tone of the conversation between two characters, it would be like they're standing in completely different situations and when they're both in the same room. There's something off about how they interact with each other. And especially the main character, Senna Roa, I think it was his name. It's something weird. He just sounds really disconnected from everyone around him. And it's a bit of a problem. And it's kind of starting to
I mean, after playing Octopath, despite the fact that game is beautiful, did you really expect much better?
Yes, because just because it's an Octopath engine game does not necessarily mean it's an Octopath game.
It's the same dude.
Is it?
Yes.
Okay, I wasn't aware of that. I didn't know it was the same guy that directed both of those games.
Mm-hmm.
The game, this though, I'm actually enjoying. There actually is a plot here, unlike Octopath Traveler. Is that what?
Where it was just completely
Traveler?
Disconnected and no one had anything to do with each other? Got it.
Yeah, it was bad. What I mean by disconnected, though, is I mean two different things here. In Octopath, all those stories were disconnected, except for that bonus dungeon at the end. Yes, we all know. Here, the stories are connected. It's one story, so there's no disconnect there. It's the voice acting itself sounds disconnected.
Yeah, I got you. I picked it up.
Okay, just making clear that we were on the same page there. Anyways. Enough of that. Let's go ahead and move on to the news of the week. Starting off with this right here, which makes me really worried for Platinum, given the very predatory environment that a lot of developers find themselves in.
It's almost like I called this fucking 2 weeks ago.
In a headline from Video Game Chronicle, on its release day, Babylon's Fall has peaked at fewer than 650 concurrent players on Steam. To the article itself. The online game was released last week on Steam and PlayStation consoles, and at the time of writing is outside of Steam's 50 top sellers on Steam, peaking at fewer than 650 concurrent players according to Steam database. For comparison, another live game published by Square Enix, Marvel's Avengers, saw around 28,000 concurrent players at launch. That game would eventually be branded as a failure by Square Enix bosses. Another Square Enix game, Outriders, peaked at 125,000 players. The reviews have also been less than kind. One user describes the game as looking and feeling like a bad PS2 port with microtransactions. There are currently just over 3,000 people watching Babylon's Fall being streamed, making it the 81st most watched game on Twitch at time of writing. That's real bad for a new game, by the way. Real bad. While there are a few early reviews of the game, sentiment around it has been negative, particularly from players and journalists who played so far. Veteran Giant Bomb journalist Jeff Gerstmann, who's been in the games media for over 25 years, said, quote, "I'm having trouble thinking of a full-price video game that has made a worse first impression on me than Babylon's Fall. This game has a full-court press of battle passes, premium currencies, and all this other stuff at launch that feels presumptuous in terms of quality of the game and the likelihood that people are going to want to engage with that. It feels very fucking crazy to me," end quote.
I wish we could just cut the footage of me from 2 weeks ago during your releases when I said, with everything else that's out right now, who the fuck would buy this game? Turns out nobody.
Yeah, this game was very much sent to die, and I think the timing of this release was deliberate. I think they looked at this and went, we can't just release this when no one's out, when nothing else is out, because then we don't have an excuse to tell our investors that this fucking bombed. But if you
so
release
they can blame it on something?
Yes, this way if you release it in a crowded schedule, you can go, hey, because of all these other major releases suck the oxygen out, you can kind of...
You could have just released it when nothing happened, and then your piddly sales would still be better than now, because people would want something to do.
I still don't think they would have been anywhere near what they were hoping for. Plus, this game is just getting savaged.
Yeah, it's just bad.
Yeah,
it's just a bad video game.
Yeah. This makes me very concerned about the future of Platinum. Very, very concerned about the future of Platinum. Stuffy Twitching chat says the name of the game is apropos. Yes, I 100% agree. I think this is a death knell for Platinum, given the fact that they don't really have a stellar track record. We used to all talk about them very highly, but over the past few years, they've fallen from grace. They have openly discussed looking to be acquired by another company. You usually don't do that if your company is doing well. I think that the people in charge of Platinum are looking to get out, and it's not good. What do you think there, David? I see that you're reading something.
Oh, I've been looking at stuff on how terrible this game is, and it's just the biggest thing I've heard is it's boring. Like, it's just not fun to play. It's not interesting. Nothing really happens,
and
which is crazy because
it's supposed to be known for.
Platinum is supposed to be a fun video. I could forgive the weak story or whatever, but fuck, these guys made Bayonetta and shit.
Yeah, it's not good. This is real. Platinum, their welcome is long worn out. They're stretched too thin. They have too many things going on at the same time, I think. And now this is just
more than that. Even
as an independent entity in 2 years.
More than that, even right. I don't even want to talk about Platinum right now. But we just talked about 2 other video games that are not by Platinum, fucking Marvel's Avengers and Outriders, which both didn't hit anywhere near their target sales numbers. I don't think this is necessarily a Platinum problem, but it's a fucking Square Enix problem. Right now, the only thing they can actually do successfully is keep people interested in Final Fantasy XIV. Besides Final Fantasy XIV and all the praise that people have put on that game, we've talked about that game's whole redemption arc and all that cool stuff and how they love their fans and how they're selling gangbusters. What's the last good thing Square Enix has done besides upscaled ports of old video games?
I'm liking Triangle Strategy, but that's not going to necessarily be a big barn burner, especially right now, because Triangle Strategy is a game that is going to suffer from just the PR vacuum that's happened. Because if it's not Elden Ring, you're not getting talked about.
Triangle Strategy.
Hey, we've talked for years that their Square's naming convention fucking sucks, but they do sell some games. I'm trying to think of what the last Square Enix game was that I really, really enjoyed and thought was just amazing. I'm trying to find a list of their games. That's proving a little bit problematic here. List of Square Enix games. Here we go. Let's see what we got. Release date.
The fact that you have to look this up.
Yeah, the fact that I have to look it up is not good. Oh man. Oh, you know what? Final Fantasy VII Remake was amazing. And
That game came out like
wasn't
3
that
years
long
ago, or 2 years ago.
It is older for sure. Before that, you had the Nier remake.
Now we're looking at 3 to 4 years ago.
Yeah, they're definitely not the powerhouse they used to be.
But how many games have come out since 7 Remake?
A lot.
A lot.
If you count for all their other stuff, yeah.
So yeah, like I said, I know that you were kind of harping on this could be the death knell of Platinum, but I honestly think that there's some kind of mismanagement going on at Square Enix, or it's all hands on deck on Final Fantasy 14. But there's something going on. Like, the studios that are making these games aren't bad studios, but either they're being rushed or they're not given the right budget.
I would argue Platinum is a bad studio at this point, because this isn't the first stinker they've had. Remember those Transformers games that they pushed out and everything like that?
That's fair. We can call them a middling studio if you want, but they're not this bad. This is the way I've read the reviews of this game is it's almost like fucking shovelware. It's full of microtransactions. It's got premium currency. It's a co-op multiplayer game with no story and no enjoyable combat.
Now, as far as like the extra monetization, that is absolutely a Square Enix thing.
Yeah.
But no one's saying the monetization is the only problem with it.
But all 3 of these games are service games. Marvel's Avengers, Outriders.
Yeah, Square Enix is very, very hungry for another Final Fantasy 14.
Yeah.
And they're just,
I guess that's my point. Any more fire you want to heap on this here? Babylon's Fall?
I just kind of hope that they have their come to Jesus moment like BioWare seems to have when they realize, listen, we need to fucking focus on what makes us a recognized name, and that is knocking out a really, really solid RPG. And I believe Final Fantasy 16 might be it. And if not that, they can always fall back on the Final Fantasy 7 Remake series, which the second of which will come out, 4 or 5 years from now. We don't know when. But they really need Final Fantasy 16 to hit well. And we'll probably get more information on that tomorrow, I would imagine, which will be another news story for later. David, why don't you go ahead and bring us off to something that's actually doing really goddamn well for a reason that I can't surmise.
And also chock full of microtransactions, we can talk about Lost Ark. In a story from Video Games Chronicle, Lost Ark has topped 20 million players worldwide. That's according to developer Smilegate RPG and publisher Amazon Games, who launched the free-to-play MMORPG in Europe and the Americas via Steam on February 11th.
I don't get it. I don't get the draw to this game.
I don't either. This game's not Diablo. It's not an action RPG. It's just an MMO, but it's as good as the Lineage 2 phone game that I played like 6 years ago. Within 3 days, more than 4.7 million new players have joined the game's community, and over 10 million of its players now come from North America, Europe, South America, and Australia. Lost Ark originally released in December 2019 and was said to have millions of active players in Korea, Russia, and Japan prior to its Western launch. The day after its Western release, the game recorded Steam's second highest concurrent player count ever, with 1.3 million players. And it's currently by far the most popular game on Steam, with over 815,000 concurrent players, according to Steam database. So shit tons of people are playing this game, even though both of us have no idea why.
I fell asleep playing this game.
Like, I get that there's a gameplay loop, and some people really fucking like MMORPGs. And if you're not playing WoW and you're not playing Final Fantasy 14, or you're done with both of those games, you don't really have a lot of options. This game has multiple character classes. It's got skill trees. It doesn't really have the kind of... I mean, it's got MMO loot. It doesn't have action RPG loot, which is why I didn't want to play it. But I mean, I could see it. If you fucking love RPGs and maybe the end game of this game is amazing. We don't know. We didn't get there.
Yeah,
but I don't want to spend the 60 hours getting there.
Yeah, I put about 5 hours into this. 1 hour of that was me dozing off of my computer sleeping. This is so boring to me. I don't get it. But I also realize that it's a huge hit right now. So I can't.
We're also completely out of touch with the mobile market, so I'm just going to chalk this one up to we're not the guys for this. We're not the target market.
Chat is saying perhaps Lost Ark is a dopamine Skinner bar given its MMO loot caches. Maybe, but here's the thing. I've got no problem with Skinner machines because I do them myself. I mean, I fucking love the idle clicker games, for example. I'm playing that Idle Champions of D&D, where the hell it's called right now.
Oh, I have that game. That's funny.
Yeah, I don't know why. I like it. Well, I know exactly why, because it is the Skinner bar. It gets like, ooh, what do I got now? What do I got now? And I can just have that running in the background. This did not tickle that to me at all, because I like both MMOs and I like action RPGs. I like Final Fantasy XIV. I like playing Guild Wars 2. I occasionally even enjoy World of Warcraft still. And I love getting back into the old Diablo, Grim Dawn, etc. So this should be good for me. But I even played Lineage 2 as well.
See, the problem is you said Diablo and you said Grim Dawn. This game doesn't play anything like an action RPG. It's just fucking not.
Yes,
and anyone that says it is has never played an action RPG.
That's also very true. But I also like MMOs too. So I can kind of see the blending of them here.
And that's a fundamental difference is I don't like MMOs. I had more fun playing New World than I had playing Lost Ark.
Yeah, I could not get into this. But hey, congratulations, 20 million players worldwide.
Hey, at this point, honestly, congrats Amazon. You finally put enough money into it that it worked. You just didn't build it in-house.
I also have a hard time believing
you poured it over somebody else's game.
I also have a hard time believing this came out in 2019 because it looked like it came out in 2009. It's just bad. Anyways, let us know if your guys are playing Lost Ark down below. I don't mean to shit on something that you love. Let me be 100% clear. I do not enjoy it. David does not enjoy it. But if you are liking it, have fun. Knock yourself out. You're talking to a guy. You're listening to a guy that loves Disaster fucking Report. So.
Yeah, I like middling video games, so we're fine. Don't worry about it.
All right. I really debated whether I should put this topic on or not, but honestly, this is one of those things that is directly involved in the games industry, and this is just the state of the world right now. This is via Game Informer. GCS Game World put Stalker 2 development on the sidelines amidst ongoing Ukraine conflict. To the article. GCS Game World, which voices support for GCS Game World, which voiced its support for its home country of Ukraine last week, has put the development of the upcoming shooter Stalker 2 Heart of Chernobyl on the sidelines amidst the ongoing conflict happening in Ukraine. After weeks of mounting tensions, Russia invaded Ukraine, leading to the deaths of hundreds of Ukrainian civilians. GCS Game World, 11-Bit Studios, Bungie, and many other studios have voiced their support for the Ukraine. Additionally, at this point, David, outside of the article, I believe places like Activision Blizzard, Microsoft, a whole bunch of people have just completely pulled any support they had for any Russia side game. So you can't buy anything from them. You can't download anything from there. Nintendo can't even process transactions because Visa and MasterCard have pulled their support from Russia as well. Back to the article. GCS Game World, based in Ukraine, revealed a new video that Stalker 2 was sidelined to focus on employee safety and support. Here's everything the video said. The previous week, we were editing the video about our motion capture studio. We wanted to show how the cutscenes were created, took time to watch videos, write scripts, and speak with actors. The previous week was ages ago. On the 24th of February, Russia declared war on Ukraine and sent rockets, tanks, and soldiers to our homeland. Our country is forced to fight for existence again. It seems like this is the price of freedom. This video is our answer to the "how are you guys?" question. Now we are striving to help our employees and their families to survive. The game development has shifted to the sidelines, but will definitely continue after the victory. Glory to Ukraine. We were talking about this 3 or 4 weeks ago before all this happened. It feels like a year ago with all the news that's come out since then about how this will probably get pulled if this happens. And
it's hard to make a video game that's taking place at Chernobyl when there's fucking assholes actively stirring up higher radiation levels at Chernobyl.
Yeah.
By driving over it with tanks and guns.
I want to laugh at the absurdity of it, but it's actually happening.
No, it's fucking terrifying. It's no good. I actually wanted to take a quick second to just shout out, since we're on this subject, and I know it's not something we normally talk about, but there is an itch.io Ukraine relief bundle. If anyone's spending $10 and having to go to Ukraine, that's a thing you can do, and it gets you like 600 different indie video games, including Towerfall and Celeste and Baba's You and Super Hot, and there's so much stuff on that list.
I know that 11-Bit Studios was doing something as well. I wonder if this is the same thing. 11-Bit or the guys who made This War Is Mine.
Yes, they put their game on sale, and 100% of their profits were going directly to the Ukrainian Red Cross.
Okay.
So there's that option. Obviously, there's tons of different support places, but as we are gaming in news, I will stay on the gaming side of the spectrum. So
Yes.
it's the IO bundle, $10 or as much as you want to spend.
This is one of those things that we've had to talk about rough stuff before on this show because it is
sometimes the real world comes all over our virtual world, and we have to look at it.
Stuffy Twitch in chat says they should consider scrapping the game or changing the location since Chernobyl's no longer the scariest thing that's currently in Ukraine these days. While I get the sentiment, that is a hard disagree from me. I think one of the strongest things you could do is stick to your original vision despite the adversity that's going on. That's my stance on it. Your stance might be different. I don't think there's really a right answer to that one.
If their press release is any indication, I think their only change is going to be to add more like dead Russians on the ground.
They did say after the victory, so it's very much a we're going to beat the shit out of Russia stance. Glory to Ukraine at the end. I wonder if GCS Game World will do what 4A Games did and just completely leave Ukraine. Because 4A Games, those are the guys who make the Metro series. Mm-hmm. When the Crimea shit happened back in 2014, they had to leave, and I think they stationed out like Spain or Portugal now. I'm not.
Yeah, they moved completely out.
I wonder if GCS Game World has to do the same now. And keep in mind, I do have a thread on my Twitter of a bunch of Ukrainian game developers that are speaking out about this and what their stances are on it. But there's also the chance that this starts to spread out to other countries. I'm specifically thinking of Poland, which has a massive game development scene.
Mm-hmm.
So this could...
Oh, speaking of that, did you hear that Cyberpunk's getting review bombed?
I heard something about it, but I didn't look into it because honestly,
it's getting review bombed in Russian because they supported Ukraine.
Well, fuck them. what am I going to say? Yeah,
I'm just saying. Okay. It's news. We're on the topic. We've been ignoring it.
I just ignored it because it was Cyberpunk, and I just didn't care about Cyberpunk anymore.
That's fair.
So yeah, that is one of those things where I can't really say any more about it other than giving that news. I don't think there's anything I can really add.
We gave you the news. It sucks. That's our stance. And how about I lighten the mood?
Yes, by all means.
In a story from gamesindustry.biz, Tokyo Game Show 2022 will be a physical in-person event again. For the first time in 3 years, Tokyo Game Show will be back as a physical event in 2022, running from September 15th to the 18th in Chiba, Japan. Like prior shows, the first 2 days are reserved for business guests and will be open to the public on September 17th and 18th. While the official language remains Japanese, there will be live English interpretation available for visitors as well. Unlike last year, which was a hybrid event offering both online and in-person activities, TGS 2022 will be primarily in-person, and to celebrate, its new theme for 2022 is Nothing Stops Gaming. The show has kept some of the features of its hybrid model, including demos that viewers can play at home, the TGS virtual reality area, plus a virtual tour. Most major game shows dropped their physical component over the last few years to account for the slow recovery from the pandemic, but are returning to physical events, including last week's DICE Summit and next month's GDC 2022. One notable exception will be E3, with the Entertainment Software Association announcing this year's show will still be a digital-only affair. So look at that. We can actually go physically to watch gaming conferences. They're coming back.
They are, except E3, which is the main reason why I wanted to include this on here. Not so much to praise TGS for coming back. Awesome.
You literally just wanted to make fun of E3?
But I wanted to make fun of E3 that everyone else is now doing a physical show except them. And last time I checked, the ESA's excuse was still due to COVID concerns. But I think we all know that's bullshit.
Well, they also probably don't read the news because if you remember, it took them a really, 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 really long time to cancel it the first time around when everything was canceled.
Yeah.
And now it's probably going to take them a really, 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 really long time to come back.
I don't think they're ever coming back. I think that show is dead.
You will see.
Oh, God, it pains me to say this. I think we'll be all the better for it. E3 is too much of a blunderbuss. Shit gets lost way too easily. I am far more down for these smaller 20 to 30-minute conferences that happen about every 3 or 4 months.
That is fine, but the problem is Summer Games Fest, because that was almost worse.
Well,
I couldn't keep track of what was happening when this company's going to go on, and so it was even more muddled. At least with E3, like the Tuesday after, I could Google fucking E3 news and go through a bunch of stuff. With Summer Games Fest, I was constantly lost. So
fair enough.
There has to be some kind of, I don't know, merging of the formats. Either that or drop the whole thing, and we just have Nintendo Directs and PlayStation whatevers and Xbox whatevers.
See,
and that's all there is.
I kind of like the Summer Game Fest myself because it took 3 or 4 days of condensed information and spread it out over the course of a month. It was still a lot because that's how much you miss during 3 or 4 days of E3 because a lot of the smaller shit just gets and just never to be seen again. So I am far more happy to have all that spaced out over a month. Stuffy Twitch in chat says E3 is irrelevant. With digital sales wiping out physical sales, there's no need for publishers to meet with retailers anymore. Agreed.
Yeah, my favorite part is now that we don't have that many physical sales and everything's digital, game prices should get cheaper, right? Because they don't have to pay all the overhead for all the game cases, right? Right, Steven? Isn't that how it works? Right? The thing they use to justify the high prices is going away, so the prices should get cheaper, Steven, right?
Do you want to have this conversation?
No, I don't at all. Especially with you.
I can go into the fact that profit margins, while profits have been soaring over the past couple years in video games, profit margins have been shrinking considerably, making every game they produce a more significant risk, thus increasing the base cost there alone, as well as just general inflationary problems, increasing the cost of everything else. I'm just saying, it's more than just going digital and physical.
You can say whatever you want. We don't agree on very basic things. It's fine. Let's move on.
I will, however, to go back to chat here, saying that with digital sales wiping out physical sales, there's no need for publishers to meet with retailers anymore, is what chat was saying. That hasn't been the case for E3, though, in years. Yes, I know ostensibly it is still a retailers go to E3 to see the stuff come out so they can buy stuff at the stores, but that shifted like 10 years ago to be less of a consumer show, or a consumer show, more of a fan show. Because E3 used to be really, really stuffy. It used to be a lot like CES, where it was a bunch of people in suits walking around placing orders for like 100,000 units of X, Y, and Z. Somewhere around the mid 2000s, maybe in the early 2000s, it started to change as the internet started to grow, where people were taking videos of all this cool shit coming out, and it started to become more of a fan thing anyways. I don't think it's really served a retailer to meet publisher purpose at least since 2004. But at this point, you don't even need a massive convention hall for that because, well, a 20-minute video that you can make for a fraction of the cost will do just as well. Anything you want to add on that, Dave, before we move on?
Nope.
Fair enough. This one is gaming adjacent, but I think it's going to work into what I feel is going to be Sony's overall plan. So this is why I have it on here. Funimation content is moving to Crunchyroll for world's largest anime library. Funimation, which serves millions of anime fans in over 52 countries and 10 languages, will be unifying under the Crunchyroll brand. This move will include Funimation subsidiary Wakanim, as well as Crunchyroll's VRV to create one subscription service for anime fans worldwide. This means all of your anime all on one platform. Starting today, tons of shows and movies from Funimation and whatever that was, will begin to arrive on Crunchyroll. This also means that new series in the upcoming spring series and beyond will only stream on Crunchyroll. Moving forward, Funimation will only add new episodes of continuing series, which means Funimation users will want to move to a Crunchyroll account as soon as possible. Now, why do we care about this, David? Because for the long time, Sony owned Funimation, and then a few years back, they owned Crunchyroll. And now they're just kind of combining it all into one service, but not really much is going to change because Sony owns them both now anyways.
I mean, it makes a difference to people that have the subscription to the one that's now getting the other one.
It's all going to be combined, is what I'm saying, though. There's no. I think the subscription prices are the same. I'm not positive on that.
Wait, so if you paid for one and the other one, the new subscription price is going to be the cost of both?
I think what was
so
your
if one was
again?
10 and the other one was 10, now the subscription is 20. Is that what you're saying?
No, I think the subscription is still going to be 10. I'm not positive.
Okay, yeah, so that's a good thing.
Yeah.
That's cool. Congratulations, all your animes in one place.
I
thought you were trying to say that they're gonna up the price, and I'm like, well, that's just bullshit.
No. I don't think they're going to up the price at all. It's like, where are you going with this, David? I'm not too sure where. This is all part of Sony. We talked about this a couple times. Sony has this drive to unite everything under one umbrella. It's that one Sony initiative where they're trying to unite Sony Pictures with Sony's game, with Sony Interactive Entertainment, with now Crunchyroll. And I think all of this is in preparation for whatever their Game Pass equivalent is going to be. Because I am 100% convinced that when Sony finally unveils whatever the fuck this codename Spartacus is going to be, it's not just going to be for video games, but it's also going to come with, at this tier, a subscription to Crunchyroll. And at this tier, you'll get to stream these Sony movies. I am positive that is what they're going to roll out with something like this. And so this is all prep work for when that finally gets announced.
Cool.
You just
have
don't
to wait and
care.
See. No, I just don't. It's fucking stupid. It's all stupid.
Why is it stupid?
I don't know, man. I don't want to pay all 4 different Spartacus subscriptions. Like, until that thing exists and is tangible, I'm not excited for it. I don't have any faith they're going to do well. I think Jim Ryan is a fucking idiot. Like, I'm not on the board.
Jim, there's this hilarious picture of Jim Ryan. There are 2 Jim Ryan stories. One is there's this picture of him supposedly playing video games. But, I wish I had it. He's holding the controller in the most unnatural way possible. He looks like he's some kid from a 90s Nintendo Power advert. As he's, like, holding this controller, like, leaning around. And I'm like, no one plays that way, Jim. No one plays. And the other Jim Ryan story that always comes to mind about how much of a dweeb this man is and is just completely disconnected from video games is the story about when he was asked what his favorite game is right now. And he kept talking about Ratchet and Clank.
Yeah, because he just says whatever's the newest game.
Yeah. It's like, no, motherfucker, what other game are you playing? Well, I still think Ratchet and Clank, and he would, like, say the full name. He might as well say, well, I think that PlayStation Studios Ratchet and Clank is. I'm like, that's not, no. You don't even know what that game is, do you?
He just memorized the script.
So while he is also a corporate suit, at least the Phil Spencer from Xbox, at least when he talks about games, it sounds like he has some knowledge about what he's doing.
Mm-hmm.
Jim Ryan is literally just a man who knows how to do corpo speak and can make deals at the high level, but is so disconnected from the shit he is selling. It's not even funny.
Yes.
I don't even remember what got started on Jim Ryan, but there we are.
I got mad at him because we were talking about something that Sony owns.
Fair enough. All right.
As I do anytime we mention anything that Sony owns.
We got 2 more stories here, Dave. Why don't you go ahead and do them both for us?
Okay. The first one is from Deadline. The God of War TV series Let me start over. God of War TV series Adaptation is being eyed by Prime Video. PlayStation's flagship action-adventure franchise God of War is heading to television because of fucking course it is. Prime Video is in negotiations for a live-action TV series based on the hugely popular ancient mythology-themed game, sources said. Hey, Prime Video, how about you take a second and finish the fucking Wheel of Time before buying some other goddamn TV programs?
Oh, if we're going to get on that, how about instead you just cancel the Wheel of Time because that's a garbage adaptation and give me just the last books of The Expanse. I know you're stopped at 6, but there's a time jump between book 6 and 7. Finish out that. Take that Wheel of Time money and put it to finishing The Expanse proper.
Well, they already took the Wheel of Time money and put it to Lord of the Rings.
Oh God, what it.
That's why that show doesn't have a second season even on the books.
Complete side conversation here. Are you excited at all about that Lord of the Rings show?
No, I don't give 2 fucks about that Lord of the Rings show.
We agree on that.
Anyway, our excitement about Prime Video content notwithstanding, the series adaptation for God of War is supposedly coming from the Expanse creators / executive producers Mark Fergus and Hawk Oatsby, and the Wheel of Time executive producer / showrunner Rafe Judkins, as well as Sony Pictures Television and PlayStation Productions, which collaborate on all TV based on PlayStation games. Reps for Sony and Amazon Studios will likely co-produce, had no comment. So, it's just, yeah, dude, more fucking game TV shows. The gaming movie fad didn't work out, so now it's time for video game TV shows, and especially anything Sony could do because they just want everything coming out of their house.
Well, Sony is of all the developers out there and publishers out there, Sony
they're
is
the only ones that own a TV studio.
Yeah, they're in a unique position to actually capitalize on this more than anyone else.
Yep. This would mark the latest big deal for a TV series based on a popular video game title in the Red Heart streamable marketplace for gaming IP. Peacock just landed another PlayStation property, Twisted Metal, for some reason, with a series order, and Anthony Mackie starring. HBO has the high-profile PlayStation game series based on The Last of Us, starting Pedro Pascal and Bella Ramsey. Netflix has a Resident Evil TV series in the work, and Paramount Plus is about to debut Halo. God, there's so many of these. I'm gonna watch maybe one of them, and it's probably gonna suck.
I have zero faith in any of these, but I will have to at least watch the premiere of all of them, including that Resident Evil TV series, which sounds god fucking awful.
The one with the Wesker twins for some reason.
The fact that you say Wesker twins just bothers me, because I think Wonder Twins from the fucking Super Friends show in the early 80s.
I think that's what they're gonna be like.
Probably.
Amazon Studios has been particularly aggressive in the arena. It has Killer Films' upcoming TV series Fallout, starring Walton Goggins.
I didn't even know about
a Mass
that,
Effect series adaptation, and it just closed a first look deal with DJ2 Entertainment to develop a TV series based on a gaming IP, which could include Disco Elysium, X-Take-Two, Sonic, and more. That's where we're at. Anything you love is becoming everything you love.
Because if there's anything that gamers love is when you take their thing that they really enjoy and fuck it up somehow.
Yes, and you transfer it whole scale into a less interactive form of media. Now, if you wanted to take something and put it in the Last of Us universe and tell your own story, that would be cool. If you want to take something in the God of War universe and tell your own story, that would be cool. Although I don't know what the fuck you would follow. I've seen what Kratos is up to. I've been there.
Yeah, he murders shit. That's what he does.
You're either gonna do the same thing or you're gonna do it worse. That is literally the best you can do.
What I want, David, is we've talked about this before. If you're going to do a Last of Us TV show, don't retell the fucking game to me. Tell me the story of Joel in the 20 years between the intro and the opening of the game.
Fuck Joel. Tell me the story of Bob.
Yeah.
Fucking, I don't care. Something else.
Doesn't even have to be that. Or if you're going to give me like a Horizon series, which is I'm hearing talk about, don't set it after the fall of everything. Give me like a little Horizon movie set during Operation Enduring Freedom. You know you're going to die at the end of it, but I'd be very curious to see those final moments of like the soldiers going out. Or it's just something that's not a retelling of what we know already. Please, for the love of God, stop just taking a 40-hour, 50-hour narrative and compressing it down. It doesn't work.
Well, they'll keep doing it. We're just two talking heads. What are we gonna do? I know what we can do, Steven. For much on the front of TGS, we can also go in person to watch fighting games for the first time in a couple years. Yes, in a blog post, EVO is back in a big bad way. The 2022 lineup is announced, and it will be in person in Vegas. EVO, or the Evolution Tournament, is the yearly fighting game tournament. If you have no idea what the hell I'm talking about, it's where all the best of the bests go and play every damn fighting game that's popular right now. Kick the crap at each other.
Except one very major exception, and I think this is because Sony owns EVO now.
There is one thing specifically missing, and I was going to get into that, but we do have the main stage lineup. EVO will be coming in person to Las Vegas August 5th to 7th, 2022. The games this year include Street Fighter V Champion Edition, Guilty Gear Strive, Mortal Kombat 11, Tekken 7, King of Fighters 15, Melty Blood Type Lumina, Dragon Ball FighterZ, Grand Blue Fantasy Versus, and Skullgirls Second Encore. One thing you may notice is missing for the first time in basically as far as I can think back, no Smash Brothers at all at EVO. They're done. They're gone. They're out. Sunday is back. You don't have to turn off the stream at 9:30 a.m. anymore. Sorry, Smash fans. But yeah, it's unprecedented.
Is this to you? I don't even mean that like in a bad way. There's no like sarcasm or need.
I'm trying to see how much tickets are.
Okay, I was curious if you're wanting to go to this or not.
Yeah. If you're trying to gauge how excited I am for Vegas, I'm gonna try and find out how much it is for myself to get to Vegas and see.
Keep
and
me
go to an
posted on
evo.
that, because I might want to go to Vegas just for a weekend and hang out with people that I know.
That's fair.
David,
Yes.
August is a ways away, and I just realized this isn't the right time for that segue. Let's go move on to delays.
We have more stories.
we do have some delays coming up. Well, one delay in particular. Forspoken, another Square Enix game with a company that does seem to be going through some troubles, has been delayed till October 11th, 2022. The post on Twitter goes on to hint that the delay is to polish the game. Forspoken. What's your excitement meter for Forspoken?
I don't even know what the fuck that is.
That does not bode well for Square Enix. I think this game looks atrocious. I don't want to say atrocious. It looks like it could be fun to play, but
It's a new Square Enix game?
Yeah.
I'll wait to see how bad the microtransactions are, and then I still won't play it.
The gameplay could be fun because you're zipping around the world, but there was one narrative trailer that came out with all this dialogue that felt like it was ripped from 90s Buffy the Vampire Slayer. And it's like, I'm so tired of the Joss Whedon sarcastic hero where the world is ending and you treat it with the same amount of urgency as the barista at the Starbucks got your order wrong. And I'm just tired of that vibe. And so that's kind of killed any interest I had in this game. I would sooner go play Final Fantasy Stranger of Paradise, which comes out next week, and fight Chaos with that overhanded dialogue than listen to anything else on Forspoken at this point. So I'm hoping that this polish involves a little bit of narrative work, maybe to add some interesting personality, because sarcasm is not a fucking personality. I know that was kind of a little bit of a rant there, but that I just had to get that off my chest there. We also have two upcoming events that were announced over the past couple days. First up, the Feature Game Show Spring Showcase will be coming on March 24th. There'll be over 40 games to feature this year's Spring Showcase, including 8 exclusive reveals from publishers like Frontier Foundry and Nacon, and an upcoming showcase of games from Team 17. The Feature Game Show was always kind of a PC indie-centric show, so I'm not expecting anything major, but there are 1 or 2 gems that tend to come from this. And the big thing, of course, will be tomorrow. The State of Play from Sony returns Wednesday, March 9th at 2 p.m. Pacific for new reveals and eye-catching updates for the PlayStation 5 and PlayStation 4 titles. They do go on to say that there will not be any updates for PlayStation VR 2 titles or hardware in this broadcast. Great. Once again, I'm loving how clear Sony and Nintendo have been with their upcoming videos saying, hey, this is not going to be in there, so don't get your hopes up. What this show is going to revolve is going to be about 20 minutes, give or take, with a special focus on highlighting games coming from some of our Japanese publishers. Though we'll also have a few updates from other developers located around the world, too. Not to keep going back to Square Enix, but I would imagine you might finally see something on Final Fantasy 16 based on what they're talking about, because there are supposed to be all those rumors about how we're supposed to see some more from that game soon. Also, god damn it, I don't want to mention this, but I have to do my due diligence and mention that the Konami rumors are swirling again about this. We'll see how that shakes out. David?
Didn't they just lose another fucking website?
I know there's SilentHill.com that got bought out, but I don't know about another one. Was there another one they lost?
I don't know. I thought maybe, but
I have to look into it.
I don't have faith in anything from Konami happening.
David, tomorrow is so far away.
Right? Ages.
I need something. It's literally 12 hours. No. Like 18 hours or so between now and when this PlayStation event is going to be happening. What can I play in the meantime to keep myself occupied? Because I can't be half-assed to be expected not to play a video game for 18 hours.
Well, you could do the smart thing and play Elden Ring, or you could play a new release.
Yeah, let's be real. I'm going to be playing Horizon Forbidden West for the next fucking week.
First up on my list, Aztec Forbidden Gods hits the PlayStations, the Xboxes, Switch, and PC. This is a 3D action puzzle platformer following a character called Ashley, a young Aztec woman in her quest to become a hero by wielding the power of the gods. The trailer has some seriously wailing guitars and kind of heavy metal music. It looks to be pretty actiony, but it is described cool. as like a puzzle platformer. Yeah, it's kind of stylish. So take a look if that sounds fun.
if this is what I think it is, let me just make sure as I pop it on Steam here. I think I was looking at this earlier. If I recall, this has like a cyberpunky feel to it almost.
I,
With
I
some of
don't
the...
think this has a cyberpunky feel. This looks more fantasy driven and
No,
like you're
there's
punching
some
stuff.
technology going on here. I don't mean like
I would,
cyberpunk as
I
in like
would
cyberpunk
call it more
2077.
like torchlighty steampunk than cyberpunk.
That's a significantly better moniker. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm good at describing things sometimes. Speaking of things I can describe, how about Chocobo GP coming out on Switch? It's an arcade kart racer that literally nobody asked for, and it has a 64-player battle royale mode.
I think this is not going to do super well, but I think it's going to do better than you think it will.
I'm sure it'll do great. People love chocobos. People love kart racers. There's like 64 or 48 new tracks coming to Mario Kart 8. I don't know what I need Chocobo GP for.
Yeah, that was really bad timing that they announced this game on the same fucking Nintendo Direct they announced the Mario Kart Season Pass.
Getting another 2 years of DLC. Submerged Hidden Depths hits the PlayStations, the Xboxes, and PC. This is a walking sim exploration where you're boating, climbing, interacting, exploring the beautiful ruins of a sunken world. Basically, looks like you're looking around trying to figure out what happened. Workshop Simulator hits PlayStation, Xbox, and PC. This is one of the many simulator games that's just there to eat your time with something to do, right? Push the box, repair the motor, sand a bench. You can repair and refurbish items using a range of restoration mechanics such as disassembling, cleaning, sanding, and painting. So just get your tinker on in Workshop Simulator, if that sounds like how you want to waste a weekend. Young Souls hits the PlayStation, Xbox, Switch, and PC. This, I think, looks pretty fun. Action RPG, hack and slash, beat 'em up. It's a 2D brawler meets an action RPG. There's a bunch of goblins. There's a bunch of weapons and accessories. You're playing as two rebellious twins on their way to save their foster father. I don't know. I wasn't paying attention to the story, but this trailer actually looked really fun to me. So check out Young Souls. And last, something that neither of us will ever play, WWE 2K22. If I need to describe this game to you, you probably don't want it. If you are in the mood for a WWE video game, you probably are already planning on getting this one. It's the 22nd video game based on the World Wrestling Entertainment thingy, the 9th game under the WWE 2K banner, and the successor to 2019's WWE 2020, because they skipped a year.
I am super excited to see how well this game does, David. Not because I'm a wrestling fan, but because if you recall, 2K20 was so poorly received and
it was one of like the worst games ever.
It actually canceled 2K21, which does not exist. They skipped a year to work on this.
Yeah.
So I am very curious from just like a sales standpoint from a I'm not going to play this. I have no interest in how well it plays beyond the fan reception for this, because this is going to be the first time that we've seen it after how poorly 20 was reviewed and received, and if they fix those games or not. Because this could be, if this did not fix all those problems, this could be the last WWE game we've seen in a very long time.
There you go,
David. That does it for new release.
I've got one thing. Actually, before we go, I would be remiss if we let the episode end and we didn't mention, at least quickly, because this did happen post the show that we didn't do last week. Epic bought Bandcamp. We are aware of that. That's news. If you're not aware of that, now you are. Epic bought Bandcamp. We don't know why. No one really does. They spent a bunch of money and they're gonna get a bunch more, but that's a thing.
Yeah, that story was a casualty of the fact that we did the show last week, but we did it on a Monday. So, and I think that news came out like on Tuesday.
So yes, it is kind of old news, but just in case anyone wants to yell at us later, yeah, we know, we saw that.
Yeah, we just couldn't get to it in a timely manner. David, that does it for the show, or new releases, which means that does it for the show as well. This has been GamePoints episode 300, and thank you all for showing up. We do stream this show every Tuesday at 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time here at Twitch TV/GamePoints. But if you can't watch us live, you can also watch us on a myriad of media platforms: YouTube, BitChute, Rumble, I think Odyssey as well, and just wherever else I can throw the show up. I do stream throughout the week here as well. I'm currently working through Horizon Forbidden West, and tomorrow I will also be co-streaming that Sony State of Play. Looking forward to see you all there. You can follow our show on Twitter at GamePoints PC, myself, Stephen Brown, at CaposBig21, and David there at _Satori. And if you liked what you saw here, you know what streamers want when it comes to follows, bits, subs, all that good stuff. There's also a Discord you can join. Link provided down below. Once again, thank you all for showing up. This has been GamePoints, and until next week, we're out of here.